The African savanna. The name itself conjures images of immense sun-drenched plains stretching to a distant horizon. It is a world painted in hues of gold, green, and earthy brown, punctuated by the distinctive flat-topped acacia trees that stand like silent sentinels. This is not merely a landscape, it is an ancient stage upon which the grand drama of life has been unfolding for millions of years. Here, the air hums with the energy of countless creatures, from the smallest termite building its colossal mound to the largest land animal on Earth, the African elephant. It is a place of breathtaking beauty and profound, timeless power. When one thinks of Africa's wildlife, a magnificent cast of characters comes to mind. The lion, with its regal mane and thunderous roar, reigns as the apex predator, a symbol of strength and wild authority. Herds of elephants move with a gentle, ponderous grace, their deep family bonds evident in every interaction. We see the elegant giraffe, its long neck reaching for the highest leaves, a creature of almost impossible design. Then there are the zebras, their dazzling stripes a mesmerizing puzzle of nature's artistry moving together in a shimmering, monochrome sea across the grasslands. This is the Africa of our imaginations brought to vivid, breathing life. The diversity does not end there. On the open plains, the cheetah, a marvel of biological engineering, explodes in a blur of speed to hunt its prey. In the rivers and waterholes, the hippopotamus, seemingly placid, reveals a formidable and territorial nature. Rhinoceroses, ancient and armored, graze peacefully, carrying the weight of their prehistoric lineage upon their broad shoulders. Countless species of antelope, from the nimble gazelle to the mighty wildebeest, undertake epic migrations, following the rains in a relentless quest for fresh pastures. This ecosystem is a complex and interconnected web of existence, and we must not forget those that fill the skies and the spaces in between. The African savanna is home to an astonishing array of bird life. The vibrant lilac-breasted roller flashes like a jewel in the sunlight, while the formidable martial eagle soars high above, its keen eyes scanning for its next meal. The great flocks of flamingos that turn entire lakes pink are a spectacle of nature's sheer abundance. Every sound, from the chatter of weaver birds in their intricate nests to the haunting cry of the fish eagle, is a note in the savanna's grand symphony. It is a world of constant movement, sound, and survival. The African savanna we see today was not always this way. Its story is written in the very bones of the continent, a tale of geological shifts and climatic change spanning millions of years. Long ago, much of Africa was covered in dense tropical forests. But as the Earth's climate began to cool and dry, a profound transformation began. The great forest retreated, giving way to a new kind of environment, a mosaic of open grasslands interspersed with woodlands. This change was the catalyst for an evolutionary explosion, setting the stage for the unique wildlife that would come to define these lands. This new landscape, the savanna, offered different opportunities and challenges. The vast, open spaces favored grasses, which evolved to be tough and resilient, able to withstand grazing and fire. In response, a new type of animal rose to prominence: the grazer. Creatures like the ancestors of today's zebras, wildebeest, and antelopes developed specialized teeth and digestive systems to thrive on this abundant but coarse vegetation. Their survival depended on their ability to move in large herds, finding safety in numbers and constantly migrating to follow the life-giving rains and fresh grass. This was a world shaped by the rhythm of wet and dry seasons. With this abundance of herbivores, the stage was set for the evolution of iconic predators. The lion adapted to hunt in coordinated groups, their teamwork essential for bringing down large prey on the open plains. The cheetah, in contrast, perfected the art of the solo sprint, its lightweight frame and flexible spine making it the fastest land animal on the planet. Leopards became masters of stealth, using the scattered trees and rocky outcrops for cover. This intricate dance between predator and prey became the driving force of the savanna, a delicate balance where each species influenced the evolution of the other. This process did not happen overnight. It was a slow, majestic unfolding over millennia. The very soil of the savanna, the patterns of the rivers, and the types of plants that grow there are all a result of this long and dynamic history. Volcanic activity enriched the earth, providing nutritious grasses that could support enormous herds. The changing climate created the distinct wet and dry seasons that dictate the Great Migrations. The African savanna is not a static picture, but a living, breathing system, sculpted by the deep forces of geological time and the relentless, creative process of evolution. It is here, in the heart of the African savanna, that the story of humanity begins. This very landscape was our cradle. Millions of years ago, our earliest ancestors, the hominins, came down from the trees and took their first tentative steps onto 2 feet. This was a momentous evolutionary leap, driven by the changing environment. Standing upright allowed them to see over the tall grasses, to spot predators from afar, and to free their hands. It was on these plains that we learned to use tools, to cooperate, and to think in new, complex ways. The savanna was not just our habitat, it was the crucible that forged us. For these early humans, the savanna was a world of both immense opportunity and constant peril. They were not at the top of the food chain. They competed for resources with powerful predators and scavengers. Survival required immense ingenuity and social cohesion. They learned the patterns of the seasons, the behavior of the animals, and the properties of the plants. They developed the first stone tools to butcher carcasses left behind by lions or to dig for nutritious roots and tubers. Every day was a lesson in survival, a test of their growing intelligence and adaptability in this challenging world. The vast, open landscape profoundly shaped our social evolution. Living in small, cooperative groups became essential for protection and for hunting. Communication was key to coordinating activities and sharing knowledge. It was here that the foundations of language and culture were likely laid. The challenges of life on the savanna fostered innovation and problem-solving, driving the development of a larger, more complex brain. We are, in a very real sense, children of the savanna. Its pressures and possibilities are imprinted in our DNA and echoed in our deepest instincts. As our ancestors, Homo sapiens, emerged and spread, their connection to this land only deepened. They became highly skilled hunters and gatherers, their knowledge of the ecosystem unparalleled. They followed the great herds, their lives intertwined with the migratory rhythms of the wildebeest and the zebra. This intimate relationship with the natural world was not one of dominance, but of coexistence. They were a part of the ecosystem, sharing the landscape with the great beasts, and shaping it in subtle ways, just as it had so profoundly shaped them. The savanna is the original home of all humankind. Long after our earliest ancestors, diverse and vibrant human cultures flourished across the African continent, each developing a unique and profound relationship with the surrounding wilderness. For countless African tribes, such as the Maasai of Kenya and Tanzania, or the San people of the Kalahari, the savanna was not a place to be conquered, but a home to be shared. These communities lived alongside the wildlife, and their daily lives, traditions, and spiritual beliefs were deeply interwoven with the animals that roamed the plains. They possessed an encyclopedic knowledge of the natural world, passed down through generations of oral history. Animals were not just a source of food or a threat. They held deep cultural and spiritual meaning. The elephant, with its intelligence and memory, was often seen as a symbol of wisdom and strength. The lion, a powerful and respected predator, was associated with royalty and courage. Many beliefs centered on the idea of a shared spirit between humans and animals, a sense of kinship with the natural world. This worldview fostered a powerful ethic of respect. One did not kill wantonly, but only out of necessity, and often with rituals that honored the animal's spirit. This deep connection is immortalized in ancient art that can be found across the continent. In caves and on rock shelters, our ancestors painted and etched stunning images of the animals they lived amongst. These artworks, some tens of thousands of years old, are more than just simple depictions. They are a window into the minds of the people who created them, expressing their beliefs, their stories, and their reverence for the animal kingdom. The graceful eland, the towering giraffe, and the dynamic hunting scenes all speak of a world where the boundary between the human and the animal was fluid and deeply interconnected. This traditional way of life represented a form of balance. Human populations were small, and their impact on the environment was limited. They understood the rhythms of nature and lived within its means. For example, pastoralist tribes like the Maasai moved their cattle herds to prevent overgrazing, mimicking the natural movements of wild herbivores. This ancient wisdom, born from thousands of years of close observation and coexistence, maintained the health of the savanna. It was a relationship built not on dominion, but on a deep and abiding respect for the intricate web of life. The arrival of European explorers in the 19th century marked a dramatic and disruptive turning point in the history of the African savanna, Driven by a thirst for discovery, scientific curiosity, and imperial ambition, men like David Livingstone and Henry Morton Stanley ventured into what they called the Dark Continent. Their tales of adventure, of vast landscapes teeming with unimaginable numbers of animals, captured the imagination of the Western world. For the first time, the wonders of the African wilderness were brought to global attention, sparking a fascination that continues to this day. But this newfound attention came at a terrible price. What followed was an era of unprecedented exploitation. The explorers were followed by big game hunters, who saw the savanna not as a home, but as a sporting paradise. The sheer abundance of wildlife was viewed as limitless, an endless resource to be harvested. The safari, a Swahili word for journey, was transformed into an organized hunt for trophies. Lions, elephants, rhinos, and leopards were shot in staggering numbers, their heads and skins taken back to Europe and America as symbols of conquest and prestige. This mindset was a world away from the respectful coexistence that had defined life on the savanna for millennia. The demand for ivory was particularly catastrophic. Elephants were slaughtered on an industrial scale for their tusks, which were carved into everything from piano keys to billiard balls and jewelry. This insatiable trade decimated elephant populations across the continent, shattering their complex social structures and pushing them towards the brink of extinction. The rhino suffered a similar fate, hunted relentlessly for its horn, which was prized in some cultures for medicinal purposes and for ornamental dagger handles. The very creatures that symbolized the magnificence of Africa were being systematically destroyed. This period of excessive hunting and trade not only devastated wildlife populations but also profoundly disrupted the ecological balance of the savanna. The removal of key species like elephants, which are ecosystem engineers that shape the landscape, had cascading effects on the entire environment. Furthermore, the colonial powers that carved up Africa often disregarded traditional land use and conservation practices, imposing new borders and laws that displaced local communities and severed their ancient connection to the land. The age of exploration had become an age of exploitation, leaving deep scars on both the wildlife and the people of Africa. Out of the very destruction of the colonial era, a new consciousness began to emerge. Some of the same hunters and naturalists who had witnessed the carnage firsthand became the first voices for conservation. They realized that Africa's magnificent wildlife was not limitless, and that without urgent action, it would vanish forever. This growing awareness led to the birth of the modern conservation movement. The first game reserves and national parks, such as Kruger National Park in South Africa and Serengeti National Park in Tanzania, were established in the early 20th century to protect wildlife from uncontrolled hunting. Today, safari tourism has become a powerful force for conservation. When managed responsibly, it provides a vital economic incentive for protecting these wild spaces. The revenue generated from park fees, lodges, and guided tours helps to fund anti-poaching patrols, habitat restoration, and community development projects. It creates jobs for local people as guides, trackers, and lodge staff, linking their livelihoods directly to the health of the ecosystem. A living elephant or lion becomes far more valuable over its lifetime than a dead one, transforming the safari from a hunt for trophies into a journey of appreciation and support. Modern technology has given us new ways to share the magic of the safari and to aid in its protection. High-definition cameras, drones, and live webcams can transport people from all over the globe directly into the heart of the savanna, fostering a global community of advocates for wildlife. For scientists and conservationists, GPS collars, camera traps, and genetic analysis are invaluable tools. They allow us to track animal movements, monitor populations, and combat poaching with greater efficiency. Technology helps us to see the savanna with new eyes, deepening our understanding and our ability to protect it. Despite these efforts, the challenges remain immense. Poaching, driven by international criminal syndicates, continues to threaten rhinos and elephants. Habitat loss due to human population growth and agricultural expansion is squeezing wildlife into ever smaller areas, and the overarching threat of climate change, which alters rainfall patterns and temperatures, looms over the entire ecosystem. Yet, there's reason for hope. The African safari endures as a powerful symbol of nature's resilience and beauty. It is a testament to what can be achieved when people work together to protect our planet's most precious treasures, ensuring that the roar of the lion and the trumpeting of the elephant will echo across these ancient plains for generations to come.